Hey YouTube, this is Rishika and this would be my 25th video tutorial on DataStage. Yeah, I can't believe I have done 24 videos previously. Yeah, so this would be my 25th video tutorial. In previous tutorials, I pretty much focused on sort stage and modify stage, remove duplicates and all that stuff. So as promised, from this video I'm gonna start transformer starting with this video. Okay, I don't want to make like long video, as I have been saying like almost pretty much every time I talk about transformer. I don't want to make long videos, so I'll try to split up like the paths and then upload them differently, so that you could just like when you have questions about some specific thing like functions or something, you can just see that video. You need not check for every video. You need not just drag and drop and all that, like, yeah. I think you guys have understood what I'm trying to say. So yeah, so in this video, 25th video, I'm gonna start transformer. I'm not gonna tell any functions or anything. I'm gonna just give the background info and explain the properties, like the stage properties and what are the options we do have in transformer stage, and that's it. I'm not gonna design any job or anything. It's just the theory part, but yeah, obviously you need to know, right? Because when you it's not that just you're mapping or you're doing the transformations, but there are some properties too. So you need to do that. You need to know those properties in order to know transformer stage completely, right? So yeah, let's sorry, let's start now. So transformer, it's processing stage, obviously, and it's a pretty famous stage. It's pretty important and it's pretty popular too, because yeah, in real time, this is like one of the most commonly used, because in real time what happens is like they do have like multiple requirements. It's not that they're gonna write just one or two transformation functions. They're gonna have multiple functions. So whenever they have like multiple functions, they're gonna use transformer stage. Okay, and yeah, as I said, we can perform any number of complex or simple transformations using this stage. And it can accept a single input link. And can have any number of output links. See, but transformer can be transformer we can write only through the single input link, that's it. But outputs, we can write it to any number of output. It doesn't really have a limit, I guess. Probably it's 124, I'm not sure, but yeah, you need not go for 124 links, so it doesn't matter. It can have any number of outputs, and out of these outputs, one gonna be the reject link. You can make a transformer can have only one reject link. See, this is a reject link, but when you try to make the another link reject, what does it say? It cannot support any more reject output links, right? So single input link, multiple output links, and a reject link. So these are the things which transformer could support link wise. Okay, and the other thing is, out of these multiple output links, they can all be reference links, or they can all be stream put, or they can be reference and stream links. See, I can have any number of reference links. It doesn't have probably doesn't have any limit to. So when I have reference links, what can I do? Lookup, right? So I can perform lookup using transformer stage to see anything. Like I can have any number of reference links, and any number of stream output links, like mainstream link, and any number, right? Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much about this link wise. So let me just remove all this. Okay, and the other thing is other thing about the transformer is it's basically important stage, because we can perform all the transformations or all the functions which we are trying to use during which we are trying to use using the processing stages. We can perform all the transformations in here. We can copy the output, we can copy, because we can write to multiple outputs, right? So copy writes to multiple outputs, so that's the one, it's done. And aggregator, yeah, we can do aggregator functions too. It has like group by function and all that, like sum, average and all that. And obviously lookup, we do have reference, so we can do lookup too. And we can have like a pivoting, like making a rows to multiple rows and all that. And sorting and all this, like basic remove duplicates, all these basic functions can be done using transformer too. Okay, that's why this is like the most important stage one needs to know if they really want to know about the data stage. Okay, so that's the reason I just want, because we do have all the functions in here, like all the pretty much the covered functions, important processing stages in here. I just held the transformer stage until last, because I just want to complete all the processing stages and then move to the transformer stage, so that it makes more sense to you, right? I mean, not really to the professionals, but at least to the beginners, right? Okay. And now what did I do? I mean, aggregation, copy, lookup and all this, modify, null handling and conversions, data type conversions. If you remember my modify stage, I said data type conversions can be done in transformer stage, right? It's pretty easy here, right? Okay, yeah, so that's pretty much about the background. And so I mean, basically one important question which I can think of right now is, I have seen people, like I have seen a person asking, is it a good idea to use transformer, I mean, is it a good idea to use transformer stage always? See, always, that's in quotes, okay? So yeah, that answer is like no. I mean, because we can't use transformer stage for every small or every minor function or minor operation, because transformer, if you remember, data stage, everything in the background, data stage converts as an orchestrate code, right? Yeah, but a transformer, it doesn't have orchestrate code, but it gonna run on C++ compiler code. Okay, so whenever you put this you pull this transformer, or you place this transformer in a job, it gonna call all those C++ operators and all those like functions and all those things. And that gonna be like, even though we don't use all of them, because we call transformer stage, it gonna call all of those operators. So obviously, even though we are not using it, it's still using the resources to call those operators, right? So C++ operators and all those functions, right? So that's the reason it's not always a good idea to use transformer for every, like if you want to copy, don't use transformer, just use a copy stage. It's always better, I mean, the best answer for that interview question gonna be no. It's always better to use native stages when we need to do like basic, simple or transformations which the other stages can handle. But if you want to handle like more functions, I mean, if you want to handle, let's say you want to have like lookup, copy and make pivot and all that functions, instead of putting multiple stages, we can do everything in the transformer, right? But make sure the load should be also balanced. Okay, that's a, I mean, there are a lot of performance issues using transformer, but you need to choose carefully which in which job and how we can use the transformer stage. Okay, yep, that's pretty much about the background. Now let me just delete all these links first, and let me just have only one link. It doesn't matter, but just it doesn't look good. Okay, let me drag a link. Okay, now let's get into the properties. So transformer, if you see other stages and this, it does not have the regular interface, right? Regular user interface. Transformers interface is similar to lookup's interface, user interface. It does have this it does have like, this is input column, links and column, all those link wise input tab, and this is like the stage variables, loop condition, and this is like output, where you map your input columns, which columns gonna go to output. This is your output thing. And these things like the bottom ones, bottom two are, this is the input one, how many input I mean how many inputs you gonna have. That's it's only one, right? So yeah, you can have only one tab. And outputs everything, like they're gonna show the metadata of inputs and outputs basically. Okay, this is like the toolbar. You're gonna have like basic toolbar, yeah, the other important question is they're gonna ask the transformer, could you please tell me the order of the transformer thing, like order of execution in the transformer stage. So that's stage variables, loop, and then this normal constraints or constraints and derivation. So stage variables, it's gonna, like, you wanna say to them that it's from top to bottom. The first is stage variables. It's gonna see stage variables, and then if they're gonna if the stage variables gonna exist, then it's gonna perform that, and then goes to the loop condition, and then and then checks for the constraints or derivation. So constraint and derivation, you see here, constraint here and derivation here. Constraint is something which you define on a table. Okay, you're defining it on all the columns. Okay, and derivation is column based, like field based. You're making sure that derivation which you write using expression editor, that is applied only to that specific column. Okay, so I'll tell what are the stage variables and loop condition in another video, but just giving a brief idea about how this gonna work. So execution order is stage variables, loop condition, constraint, and derivation. The common question is, what's the difference between constraint and derivation? Constraint is a condition written on a table or on whole output data, whereas derivation, it's more like field level or column level. Okay, so that's pretty much about this. And if you want to see the properties like input tab and output tab, like regular stages, you're gonna choose this thing. Whenever you place your cursor on your toolbar, it's gonna show what everything is, what does everything mean. So I need not show everything, but just let me show the important things. Okay, so when I click that, it's gonna open up the stage properties. So this is how every stage looks like, right? Stage, input and output tabs and all that, right? So yeah, now I'm gonna explain only the stage variable, only this properties, like all the different tabs in this video. That's it, all the different tabs, and if we have any options, that options too, only in this video. That's it. So once we are done with this, we then gonna go to the functions and then have like different functions and different videos. Okay, and now okay, stage wise, so this is the first tab. And general, here you're gonna just have your description, like a design, this transformer is basically doing this and this function and all that things. It's very basic description. And the other are legacy null processing and abort on unhandled null and maximum log reject messages. Okay, these three options. So legacy null processing is basically it's used legacy null processing. If you check this box here, it means that you're trying to revert back to revert back to the previous version. You're trying to revert back to the previous version, and you're choosing that you're choosing that type of null handling, like what are the previous versions type of null handling, that type you're trying to choose it. Okay, so yeah, and what does it mean is, so yeah, so let me just explain like what the previous version of null handling did. Okay, so before 8.5, this my personal PC and this version of DataStage is 8.5, so I do have this legacy null processing. But before 8.5, let's say 8.1, because in 8.1 the job design had to explicitly handle null column values. What I mean to say is, like, if you use like input columns in an output column expression, say you're writing like some derivation using an input column, and that input column, if it has a null value, if you're trying to write some expression using an input column, and that input column has a null value, the record which has null value gonna be dropped or rejected without any intimation or without anything specified. Okay, that's how the null handling things were existing in 8.1. we always needed to handle null manually. Like we need to write statements for every column, because if you're not sure that column has null values, handle null column values explicitly. Okay, what is like, if you are using the output column with the null values in an expression, only that record's going to draw. But if you're trying to map just like output to output, if you're input to output, just trying to map, that's nothing problem occurs. But when you're trying to write an expression or derivation on that column which has null values, then the column's gonna drop, or if the reject link is specified, then they are collected in the reject link. Okay, so yeah, there was like it was a bit of problem, because it doesn't really make sense to handle everything like nulls, right? Let's say like what I'm trying to say is, let's say we have a column called salary, and that salary have a few null values. Okay, so now if you want to have a function on this column, say salary plus 1000. Okay, I just want to add 1000 on for every employee on this column for their salary. Okay, so I'm trying to write derivation like salary plus 1000. Okay, so whenever salary is there, salary column has a value, it gonna give me output. But when a record has salary column as null, that whole record gonna be rejected if I specify the reject link, or dropped if I don't specify the reject link. It doesn't tell me anything. Okay, but in 8.5 they enhanced this thing. So they try to improve this. What they did is, in 8.5, null values can be included in any expression and cannot be we need not explicitly handle them. They are just like we need not explicitly handle them. What is, okay, let's take the same example. So let's say we have salary, right? So I'm trying to add 1000, right? So whenever it's see a null in null value in a salary column, when you add 1000 to it, what does this new null handling thing in 8.5 version does is, it checks that, okay, I see a null value, and someone said, okay, Rushika said that to add 1000 to null value, but I don't get anything. Null plus 1000 is nothing, right? So what it's gonna do is, it's gonna understand itself, it's gonna handle that null value itself and write that null just null to the output. So ultimately we are not dropping or rejecting, but instead we are getting the output value as null, because null plus 1000 is always is null, obviously null, right? So yeah, that's the reason it's not we need not explicitly handle nulls in 8.5 version. And yeah, we can customize reject links if you want. But there were also some issues even when this legacy null processing was added in 8.5. There were also some issues. So what they did was, they introduced an environmental variable called apt transform compile old null handling. Let me show you that. Okay, so if it's environmental variable, right? So go to this parameters and add environmental variable, and here it gonna be apt transform compile. Okay, let me just check it. Apt transform compile old value, old null handling. Okay, it's gonna be somewhere here. Just check it here. Sorry. See, so if you wanna see, what does it say? What does the description say? Enable legacy handling of null expressions in the parallel transformer. Rows containing unhandled null expressions are rejected or dropped, or cause an abort if abort an unhandled null. How? That's just a thing. So even though legacy null processing was added, sometimes there were issues. So they introduced an environmental variable called apt transform compile old null handling. Okay, so we are trying. So if you wanna revert back to the old null handling processing, which sometimes we get, like let's say we are migrating job from 8.1 to 8.5, and we do have like different null handling in 8.1 and different null handling in 8.5, right? So that's when this legacy null processing gonna help us. Okay, and if that doesn't help, then this environment variable called apt transform compile old null handling gonna help. Okay, so that's pretty much about legacy null processing. I hope you got it. Okay, and then about an unhandled null, it's pretty much this sentence says it, right? So what we are trying to say is, this option, when you check on this option, it forces the job to stop when the transformer sees or encounters a null value. Whenever it sees a null value, or whenever the transformer encounters a null value, it just forces the job to abort right there. Okay, it doesn't move. It doesn't allow to it doesn't allow to run further. Okay, so if you let's say you have like a legacy null processing checked and abort on unhandled null checked. If you have both of these options checked, so what does the transformer do is, any columns, any nulls that are in input columns and used in output column derivations and are not explicitly handled by the expression editor, cause the job to stop. So if you don't handle any null, if you are trying to use input column which has null value for processing like output column and writing derivation, that's when that column is not explicitly handled, so it causes the job to stop. And if you don't set this legacy null processing, convert a non-nullable column to a null, that gonna just then abort, the job gonna just abort. Okay, that's pretty much about it. And the maximum log reject messages, this is basically it's maximum log reject messages, right? So it's asking what's the maximum number of log reject messages you want to write to output or the job log. Okay, it's not output but the job log. Okay, so what does it mean is, whenever a row is rejected, say you have a reject link and a row is rejected because it contains a null value, right? So let's say you have a row is rejected because it contains a null value, then a warning is written to the job log. Okay, but let's say we do have like lot of rows and lot of null values and every warning is written to the job log. So what you're gonna do is, you're gonna set a limit for those maximum log reject messages. Let's say you don't want to have like more than 9 or 10 log reject messages, so you're gonna say this 10. So by default it's gonna write up to 50 warning messages or 50 messages per partition, but you can increase or decrease this. And if you don't want to set this limit, and if you want just transformer to write any number of warnings or any number of log reject messages, so just give -1. So this means that you're setting it to allow unlimited messages. Okay, that's pretty much about maximum log reject messages. Now let's go to the stage variables section. Stage variables are basically we can define our own variables in here, and but these variables we can't use it in any other stage. We need to use only in the transformer stage. Okay, you can create like your own variables using C++ code, and that's advanced data stage and all that, but you need not worry about that. I'm just giving a brief idea what are these options, that's it. Okay, so values can be, stage, what does a stage variables, like what's the basic function of the stage variables is, you can assign certain values to these stage variables, and you can use them. You can use this once you create a stage variable. You can use those stage variables while defining other expressions like output. Say you're defining some output column derivation, okay, and you want to you define some stage variable, so you can use that defined stage variable while defining the output column derivation. Okay, and the other thing is, you can like just evaluate a column, or you can just use the stage variable to evaluate itself. It's not a big deal, but yeah, that's the other thing to do. And more about the stage variables, I'll give an example and how to create stage variables and how the stage variable runs, but probably I'll make another video of that. It's not the right time to know how we're gonna create stage variables until and unless we don't know all the things in here. So that's pretty much it about the stage variable. Okay, and see, when you, it's just like the parameter. Whenever you have like a parameter, you're gonna give like name and all that, initial value and all that, right? So yeah, that's pretty much as parameter. Okay, and now next is the loop variable. Loop variable is basically loop variables are used when you're trying to have like looping conditions. If you guys know some coding, programming, you guys should have like known while looping, right? While loop and for loop, for while loop, all those, right? So what we are trying to do, looping, right? We are just linking all that we are writing a condition and linking together until the condition, we are making it true until the condition fails, right? Yeah, that's the same thing happening in this transformer stage too. So you define looping conditions in transformer using this loop variables. Okay, so it's pretty much same as stage variables. You can use this loop variables while writing expressions and like while defining output column derivations and all that. And other option is, if you see in the bottom of the here, it says loop iteration warning threshold, right? Iteration or iteration means it's repetition. Loop should be repeated, right? That's the basic functionality of loop, the word says, right? Yeah, so iteration means how many times warning threshold. So it's asking how many times you want to repeat a loop, but let me know what is the warning, what is the like threshold, or what is the warning limit I can just have, so that you know how many times your loop is repeating. Okay, so by default it's always some 10,000. You can change this value, but default is 10,000. So I mean, when it is useful is, let's say you have some funny looping, okay, and faulty looping, basically funny looping, and you don't really know that doesn't gonna work. Okay, so you just refine something as a loop and it worked. You do not know until you do not the job still compiles successfully, but you do not know what's wrong with the loop. Okay, so what happens is the loop gonna continue, right? So we don't know if the loop is like working really or not, so but that gonna execute, right? So that's pretty much waste of time and waste of everything, right? So yeah, so you can, if you have doubts on such jobs, or when you're trying to have a loop condition and you're not sure if that loop is like pretty much good enough to run several times or not, you can just give a minimum loop iteration value here. So when you execute like let's say you're gonna give like 10, it gonna have like it gonna have warning at 10 and in multiples of 10. So it gonna iterate, or it gonna repeat the loop for 10th whenever it have like 10 times, it gonna repeat it. Okay, so 10th time when the loop is repeated 10 times, it gonna have warning threshold, and then if the loop is continued till 20, then warning threshold, 30 again warning threshold. It's like multiples of 10. Okay, so basically a warning is returned to the job log when a loop has repeated the specified number of times in here, like you specify number of times, right? So it's going to repeat that specified number of times every time that specified number of times, and its multiple is reached, it gonna add it gonna write like warning to the job log. Okay, that's pretty much it. Like let's say if the limit is set to 5, it's gonna add on warnings to job log when the loop iterates 5 times, and then 10 times, and then 15, 20 and all that, like multiples of 5, because the basic threshold I gave is 5, right? So yeah, and if you just wanna have like looping, if you just want to predefine warning threshold, like loop iteration warning threshold. On project level, you can choose another environmental variable. It's apt transform loop warning threshold, as similar to like environmental variable as compile null handling. If you just check out yourself, it's gonna be apt transform loop warning threshold. So if you just add your parameter at the project level, that gonna apply to all your projects, so you need not really worry about every job in that project, because you define it as project level parameter, right? So everything whenever you're trying to have loop iterations, it's gonna have that threshold thing applied to that job. Okay, so yep, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna show the looping in transformer example and all that, but in another video. This is not the right time. Okay, and surrogate key. Oh yeah, I did miss to make a video tutorial on surrogate key generator. I didn't realize it till now. Okay, so let me do one thing. I'm not gonna say anything about this surrogate key now, because I'm pretty sure it's gonna be same, like we're gonna have two types of surrogate keys, and source name and initial value and all that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just skip this surrogate key tab and go to the other tabs. Once I finish the transformer stage, I'm gonna hold transformer stage. I'm gonna then make a video tutorial on surrogate key generator. Okay, and once we are done with the surrogate key generator, I'll just come back and just give a just like brief idea about this tab. Okay, so let's skip it for now. And advanced, it's pretty much same as in all the other stages. And link ordering, see, you can just order your links, change your links, like what are the output reference links, mainstream output links, what is the reject link and all that. And triggers is basically, triggers is like triggering, like it allows us to choose routines. Routines are like the predefined or inbuilt functions, right? So it allows us to choose routines to be executed at specific points of time, like it gonna execute only at specific point of time where you gonna specify. It's like triggering the it's like triggering something you would want to do when the job is running. Okay, so that's what it does. And by default, you do have if you click on this, you do have before stage and after stage. If you remember, I showed you in my pretty much like the start of video tutorials, probably in second or third, I guess. We do have before stage routines and after stage routines, right? Yeah, that's pretty much same. It's gonna ask, do you want to have this trigger before stage or after stage? Okay, so that's pretty much. And by default, this trigger, it's like built-in trigger. We do have only one built-in trigger as of now in 8.5, and that is when you double click on this routine name, it's gonna show the built-in trigger. Set custom summary info is a built-in trigger. Okay, so when you click on that, what it's gonna do is it's gonna have this, see, let me just, okay, it's gonna have this argument 1, argument 2 and argument 3, name, description, value. This means that this percentiles or percentages symbol means that you need to choose or you need to give your own thing. Okay, so yeah, just need to specify name, description and value, and you can do this via this expression editor. This thing is called expression editor. And see here, you can have anything in this argument except the input columns. You can't define triggers using the input columns. Okay, you can define, like you can choose stage variables or parameters, but not columns. If you see in transformer, we do have columns too, but if we don't have input column option in here, right? Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much about this triggers tab in transformer. And let me just, okay, and then let's look at it. It's again national language support special characters thing. And build, it's like advanced concepts you need not really worry about now, but I'll definitely talk about it later once I finish this basic things about this transformer stage. Okay, and yep, that's pretty much about this tab. And next, go to the input tab. Input tab, nothing, general description. And partitioning, what type of partitioning? Pretty much same. Advanced, nope, pretty much same. and outputs also pretty much same. But if you observe here, this preserve sort order, right? Preserve sort order means it it says, right, I did not explain it, but I'll still try to explain it. Preserve sorter, if you know that the rows which are like input to the transformer stage are already have been sorted, and you just want the sorted order to preserve, okay, that's when you choose this preserve sort order. But unless and until you're not sure I mean, what I'm trying to say is, you have an option preserve sort order, but it doesn't really make sense, or it doesn't isn't really good option to always check this preserve sort order if you're not really sure about your data, because this creates, if you click this option, this creates an overhead means like additional process. So unless and until you're sure about the input data, or you're sure that the input data is sorted, then you're gonna use this preserve sort order. If you're not sure, then don't use this, because as I said, it's an additional process. It's an additional process to trace the position of the rows, right? I mean, in order, it need to trace that rows in order, so it's an additional process. It needs to create an additional process. So if the sorting is not done in the previous stage, and if you click on this preserve sort order, it doesn't really make sense, and it's a waste of resources, right? DataStage resources or your project resources, right? So yeah, if you're so sure about the sorted input data, just click on this so that you can preserve it. And I mean, if you want to preserve it, okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it about this transformer stage properties, okay. And in next video, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get into the functions like expression editor. This thing, when you double click on this three dots, this is the expression editor. This thing is called expression editor, okay. So when you just click on this, see, these are the different things we do have in transformer stage. I'm gonna explain each and everything, but let me just make a video tutorial on DS macro and system variables and DS routine. 1, 2 DS macro, DS routine and system variables in my next video, and then I'll come to string and function, which are like very important, okay. So yep, in my next video I'm gonna make on DS macro and system variable and DS routines. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm trying to make them as I said, I'm trying to just split them so that it will not be an overhead for you, because it's transformer, it's an important stage, and I don't want to put everything in a video and just say, okay, I'm done with the transformer stage, here's your video tutorial. I don't want to do that. So yeah, that's the reason I'm just trying to make it like take it little slow. Thank you guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you all understood about the properties of the transformer stage. I pretty much covered each and every property. So thank you guys, thank you so much for watching.